right, good morning, everybody. Sorry I'm a couple minutes late here. I had a little IT issue there for a second, but I think it's all good now. I'm going to go ahead and get started here. Give me one sec. You guys can hear me all right? Go ahead and give me a thumbs up in the chat. See my screen okay? Let me know. All right, so we're going to flip it over to a little pre-market analysis here before the bell rings. All right. So those of you guys that have been with me for a while, coming over from Fast Track, you guys know the drill at this point. We're going to go through the daily, call it market profile, call it daily bias analysis, whatever you want to call it, and we'll just go ahead and jump through the day. So yesterday we had this big bullish candle. So let's I'm going to just go ahead and delete my levels here, and we'll just do them all again. I'm going to leave these two on though, just for the time being. Get rid of all this, and we'll just start from the top and work our way down as we usually do. So let's go to the month. Before I get rolling here on all of this, I just want to make sure I cover a little disclaimer here. All information in this video is provided for educational purposes only. It's not an offer or recommendation to trade future stocks, options, or Forex. All trading does carry risk. Everybody in this room knows that, so we'll just carry forward. All right, so here's the monthly view. Monthly, we've got our November candle very bullish, December candle very bullish, and now our January candle is coming to a close here in the next couple of days, very bullish. Dante, this is futures in general. This is the S&P 500 futures contract, current contract, March of 2024. We're going to go through a little outlook of the macro view, and then we're going to drill into the market profile and get you guys some levels. And then we'll flip over to the order flow chart, and we'll once the market opens, we'll call some moves out live. All right, we'll call some setups as they happen. Okay, so we'll give you the macro view. Monthly, very bullish. That's enough said on that one. Next, down to the week. Okay, here's where we start drilling in some levels, and we start putting in some zones here. So we got a weekly gap right here, buy side imbalance right here, hasn't been filled yet. We got another one right here that just formed. We got another buy side imbalance. I'm sorry, right here. Got this little gap right there. Okay, so we got our two monthlies, or I'm sorry, weeklies, and we've got a structure level right here. So what I've done, since we're at the all-time highs, what I've done is instead I have drawn some Fibonacci extensions, and we can hone those in a little bit. To kind of, we're right at one right now at 49.60, so I'm going to mark those off with a level. Okay, goes to all charts. We're going to change this to spring green, apply. Okay, make that solid. Okay, so these are our Fibonacci levels. Let's see. And we'll draw one up at the 50%, and then we'll do one more up at the 61%. All right, we're probably not going to get too much extended beyond there anytime soon. So that's probably good for right there. We've got a market structure level right here. We'll mark that off. Just a swing high. May not be relevant, but it might be. We could potentially get back down there. Let's see what else we got. Another swing high right here. Drop that one in there. Okay. So we've got some levels to work with there. We've got some Fibonacci extensions to the upside. We've got some levels to work with on the downside for the weekly. Looks good. Oh, you guys can't hear me? How about now? Is that better? Maybe if I talk into the microphone, that might help things a little bit. Okay, so that's our weekly. That's our weekly levels. So now we're going to drop down, go to the day. Okay, so here's the daily. We've got a daily gap right here. This formed last week, Friday, when we broke out, or a couple weeks ago Friday, I should say, when we broke out. But there's a daily level right here that I've been eyeballing for quite some time, waiting for price to trickle back down there. Hasn't hit yet, but we're going to go ahead and mark that in blue. Okay. I'm going to mark that in blue. We got another. Oh, no, that's the only daily one that we've got right there. And then we had one down here. I guess I'll mark that off just to illustrate the point here. So these buy-side imbalances, they're all one-sided, right? There's no there's a big gap between the close of this bar and the opening, or the low point of this bar. There's nothing in between here, so it's just a big buy-side imbalance. All the orders are coming in on the buy side. That's why I mark these off, because the market wants to be efficient, and it eventually wants to come back down here and fill that imbalance. And to illustrate that point, right here. So we blew off the doors right here on a buy side, probably some news event, and then we came back down and filled that to the tick, as you can see, to the tick. We filled that at the top of this bar, bottom of this bar, to the tick, and then we used this as a launching point for our next leg of the rally. Okay, so it looks a little cluttered at the moment. I know, I get it, but the sentiment on the macro vision is obviously bullish. We are in a massive uptrend. We blew off the range yesterday in the last 2 hours of the day. Let's see. All right, so now I'm just going to put on the prior day highs and lows. And that's going to do it for the daily. And then we're going to drill down into our market profile and talk about these levels in here. Everybody still hear me okay? Did the volume get fixed at all? All right. Okay. So there's your daily high, or there's your prior day high, and we'll hone that in a little bit here as we get into a better chart. But that's my long-term chart. I'm going to throw this over to the side for a minute, and we'll go drill into a different chart here that I have. This is a market profile, and we'll kind of go through this here as price is going to open up here in just a few minutes. This is just a 10-minute chart. So what we've got is a couple layers here. So we have, this is yesterday's value area, high and low. It's quite a big range, as you can see, but here's yesterday. So right now, current price dipped into yesterday's value area, and it dipped into this orange zone right here, which is not only just a gap, but as I'll show you here. Hang on, I got to pull up another tool here. I had a little IT problem earlier that wiped out my charts, so I had to restart. But so I'll show you another thing here. So you can see there's some single prints here on this chart. You can see we dipped down into this value area low, and now you can see that this is a TPO chart that only has single prints on this upside here. So we dip down into here, and now we can potentially rally off. My guess is that at some point we're going to come back down here and fill this gap on single prints, because it's very thin volume right through there. So, and now price is starting to rally and then dip, and we are sitting in this downtrend right now off the open. So that's what these levels mean here. So this is another gap, but eventually I think is very highly possible that we fill. So I've got a couple different things here. I want to see if, yeah, of course, none of that. All right. So essentially, here's kind of the today's trade plan. On the long-term vision, monthly uptrend broke through December highs, climbing to all-time highs. Weekly, we broke out of our weekly range. NQ is kind of stuck in a range right now. NASDAQ is anyway. But on the daily, 3 days of consolidation, bullish breakout yesterday, PM, which was these two bars right here, or which was, yeah, it was the final like 2 hours of the market. Just broke out of this inside day that we were having and broke out to the upside. On the gap, intraday single prints from 45 down to 33. That's this orange right here. Okay, off the open, we're ripping pretty bullish. Initial push, bullish. And on the gap side of things, we opened outside of value, outside of yesterday's value. Slightly outside yesterday's value. So that's obviously a bullish open. Okay. These are some levels. So 49.45 right here. Next stop down 49.34, which is a level that got taken off here, which is right about, oh yeah, it's just the bottom here, 34 right here. And then from there we go down to 23, which is the high part of this node right here that I had on here, but did not save. So this little, we're going to change this to green. So we got a lot of action going on right now on the charts. So let's shift over to some news real quick and just kind of take a look at our outlook. What do we got going on for the day? So today we have we got CB consumer confidence and we got JOLTS jobs opening. On top of that, there's a few, this week is peppered with some tech earnings that is likely to have a pretty decent impact on the markets today. I think we have, what is today? We got Microsoft today, we got Google, and we got AMD, which is likely to bring some volatility. But that 9 a.m. news is what we're going to be kind of looking at. That red hot news, that CB consumer confidence report comes out, can inject and likely will inject some volatility into the marketplace. So we'll keep an eye out for that. All right, so I'll throw this chart aside, and then we'll just take a look at some of the this opening range here. So this is my order flow chart from Ninjacators. And right now we have a very bullish open off the open, or off the start. All right. So we're coming up to POC VWAP right now off the opening 15 minutes, and we're just, here's the yesterday's value area high, so we're just launching a little bit off of the value area from yesterday here. Essentially all we did was just dabble into yesterday's value, and we can make a case for that upside. Break through POC here. The next stop up is prior day high. And our Fibonacci extension is just above that at 49, call it 60. That's where it should be. Let me true that up a little bit. Yeah, right there. All right, and we're off. Can you guys still not hear me? Oh, that's frustrating. All right. Anybody here familiar with anybody new here that isn't familiar with a order flow chart? While we're sitting here through the opening range, I'll kind of walk through it a little bit. You've got a little bit more information than your typical candles, like over here. These are just your typical open, low, high, close candles here. You got a little bit more information on these. You've got your delta. So you actually have these numbers in here actually are representative of executed orders. So as orders are coming into the marketplace, you have your aggressive selling side over here, and you've got your aggressive buying side over here. So people that are hitting the market orders are showing up over here, and people that are hitting market orders to sell are over here. Okay, so when you're looking at this, you can sum total the difference here. This is called the delta. One thing that I key in on a lot is delta. 483 more aggressive buyers than sellers in this 5-minute candle. Here's a delta doji, just a momentary pause before we break up, before the opening candle hits. But here's a very, very bullish candle, 2,246 more aggressive buyers than sellers. You've got an imbalance here up at the top of 1,024 more buyers than 101 sellers over here. So you get that highlighted imbalance. That's a pretty big one. And you've got some aggressive buying happening, some initiation happening right off the open. That's what that means. And so you put all this together, you can start stringing some market context together as to what's what, and you can assess who's in control of the marketplace pretty much at any moment in time, whether it's buyers, sellers, or we're just kind of flatline going sideways. It's pretty easy to tell, or it's easier to tell, I should say. All right, so let's pop this one open here again. 30-minute candles, very bullish. Closing above, well, we don't know yet, but it's pushing up to prior day highs. We already kind of wicked through prior day highs, and then we rotated back down a little bit. But right now we're bouncing off this confluence of areas right here, this value area low or value area high, and these zones here that with these single prints that we're kind of bouncing off of at the moment. All right. Thoughts, comments, questions? Where you guys think the market's going? Are we going up or are we going back down? What do you think? Broadly speaking, very bullish on the market. I think we're going to have a momentary pause and go sideways since tomorrow we have Fed day. So typically the day before a Fed day is sideways chop. So I'll be looking for essentially inside range action today. I'd be very surprised if we broke out. I was actually very surprised yesterday that we broke out as high up as we did. I assumed that we were going to chop a little bit sideways yesterday, but the last couple of hours we hit a rally pretty hard. So that was pretty shocking to me. So I've got NASDAQ on a different chart here. We're just sitting at this range right here. We failed to close above any of these bars, and now we're just ranging back and forth. Can look at other markets too. See what other markets are doing. So we've got the S&P. So I got my NASDAQ here. You can see S&P, and I got the dollar. The dollar is ranging right now. It had this buy side imbalance to the upside. If the dollar breaks out, I'd be looking for a rotation back down. So we're kind of building up right now what the dollar wants to do. Let's see. Let's take a look at some other crude. On the day, starting to break out of this range here. Had a nice pullback yesterday, and it looks like it's pulling back to this market structure level right here, and maybe making a move back up to that 79. It's possible. Let's see. You guys out there trading the euro? Euro is just in a downtrend, just a channel. Still stuck in that channel downtrend. Filled this gap over here, potentially making its way down to this swing low over time. The markets are probably going to be fairly quiet, I guess, until the Fed comes out. So the Fed, all expectations on the Fed for tomorrow are that rates are going to stay the same. There hasn't been any change in news on that. About a 90% probability, 95% the last I looked, I think, is that the Fed's going to keep the rates the same. So if that's the case, I believe they're pricing that in right now. So the effect of the Fed should be fairly muted unless there's some kind of change in that, would be my guess. But, you know, my stance when the Fed comes out and speaks for that day, I'm typically hands off. Get my trades in the morning, get those setups in the morning, and be done. That's the last thing you want to do is get caught in a trade at 12:59 p.m. All right, so it looks like we're closed heavy through VWAP, POC, and now we can either looks like we're going to bounce, maybe try attacking that 49.56 level, prior day high. Delta and price are kind of moving in sync here. They're correlated. It's good. Looks like we may be getting a little extended to the upside here. The short run. Sellers are coming in, getting absorbed. So far. The 15-minute range coming to a close here pretty quick. Not much action going on. A little bull run up. You guys got any thoughts, questions, comments? Hovering right at that 49.50 level. So as price kind of settles into what it wants to do here, what I'm looking for is a break of prior day high, or I'm looking for a break of this 49.45, and these two levels right here within a point of each other. If we can get a hard push below here, highly likely that we're going to travel and retest these single prints here and rotate back down. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for, what I'm looking for right now, but that's going to require a breakdown below the POC, breakdown below this trend line, a breakdown below this VWAP, and then to break down below here. So right now we're moving in that opposite direction. Looks like we're targeting 49.56 to the upside here and go retest that prior day high. Reason I'm not taking it long right now is because if I was going to do it, I would have done it back down here. But I don't take trades in the opening 15 minutes, as I'm not very good at it. So I stopped doing that. But yeah, if Delta builds here, make a nice case to sweep prior day high, potentially take out this fib level. So there's some sellers coming into the market, but they keep getting absorbed through the buying. You can see the sellers popping in here and there. They just keep getting steamrolled a little bit. So this is a nice, if you guys trade the first 15 minutes or so, this is a nice entry right here. Get a nice delta breakthrough, a nice close above VWAP, pull back and go. One of my favorite patterns to trade in a bullish market, but I didn't take this one this morning. What's the indicator, Rob? What's the indicator you add to the get the vertical time frame bars on the chart? Oh, these right here. This one is called. Boy, that's a good question. I forget what they're called now. Hang on, I'll look. I'll just show you. They are. Oh, they're just called NCAT zones. It's from Ninjacators. Yeah, no problem. All right, so now we're attacking current value area high on this D-shaped profile. Let's see if we can build some value up here. Delta's building to the positive side now. Price and Delta still correlated. Still moving in the same direction. So my guess, we're going to come to prior day high, poke through, sweep, maybe get a nice pullback. So what a slow open. Average true range, the average distance of each candle is about 2 points off the open, 2.5 points, about 10 ticks, give or take. Normally this is about 5 or 6. So you can just see how slow the volume is off the pre-Fed day. So we're failing at the value area high of the day so far, you can see. We got 7 minutes left in this half-hour candle till we get into that 9 o'clock zone. About 7 minutes left, and we'll see what happens. Man, I sure know how to pick these days, huh? Yesterday or today, outside of the last 2 hours, would have been really boring to watch regardless. The last 2 hours was so what was interesting to note about yesterday, and we can rip through this real quick. Here was the open right here. I'll pull this up a sec. So here was the open right here, and you can see that this broke through a little bit, pulled back, and then ripped to the upside just on a tear for the last 2 hours. I'm not even sure. Anybody know what caused price to move so high, so fast in the last 2 hours? Was there some sort of a news event? That's usually those types of moves is news driven. I didn't see any news that netted that. No, nobody knows. All right, that's fair. Looks like a little bit of a pullback here to 49.50, perhaps. Get all the way down there. Anybody want me to cover anything while we're waiting for price to reach or break certain levels? Okay, coming up on that 9 o'clock. Got a little bit of a bull flag scenario happening here. Very little bit. Well, this is part of it, I guess. Just sitting and waiting for your levels to break. I'm just riding that 10 exponential moving average for the time being on that 1 minute. Straight up. There we go. There's a little bit of movement. All right. Pull back the VWAP. Retest. There's that 9 o'clock news. Surging in. CB consumer confidence coming in. Let's see. CB consumer confidence better than expectations on that report, and the JOLTS jobs opening beat expectations by about a quarter of a million. 903, 1148 on those reports. So now we pull back. So here's a deep pullback. Broke down below VWAP, broke down below trend line, POC. Coming back to test opening. Delta's building pretty hot. 1,700, 1,700, 1,800. Building. 45 is my line in the sand. Potentially bounce off this. $2,500. So this is why I don't predict news. Two good reports that were good to strengthen the dollar, and the markets go the opposite direction. Dollar started to surge a little bit on the daily as the S&P bounced a little bit, or down, I should say. NASDAQ ripping to the downside. Russell 2000 ripping to the downside. Dow pulling back down. Two leaders seem to be the Russell and the NASDAQ to the downside, and the Dow and S&P are kind of lagging. That bar delta flipped to the negative side for the day. We were hovering right around even on the delta, so now we flipped down to the negative. Again, 45 right here. That's my line in the sand. Need a nice hard push back into value. If we're going to go to the downside, that's what it would take, is a nice hard push back down into value, and then a retest of opening lows. Here's kind of the test. Is this a real push, or is this just a deep pullback? I'm going to retest VWAP here in the POC. If we stay below there, likely we take out this 45 and we kind of get what we're looking for. Noteworthy to notice, we failed prior day high. Failed our level at 49.60. Failed to get up there yet, and a big displacing push down so far. So for you guys that are aggressively shorting, you got yourself an entry here on this VWAP retest to the downside, and you got potentially 49 and a quarter, 49.45, so about 4, maybe 5 points potentially in one move here. Dollar still driving up. Let's see what the notes are doing. 10-year notes. What do the bonds got going on? Bonds are dropping as well. So typically, it's been the bond and the dollar correlation has just, or the bond and the market correlation has just been odd lately. Okay, looks like we're getting a. So far, this is just a, as far as I can tell, unless delta flips here and we get a nice hard push, this is a dead cat bounce. Got heavy delta, or not heavy delta. We got heavy sellers on a green bar. So 2600. Down to 256, 290. There we go. 3. Sellers are trying to push this thing down below VWAP. Failed. Okay. It's a total range that we're in right now from the open. Let's see. This bar was almost 10 points. Just about. Very indecisive market so far. A 10-point range off the open, pretty low. See, we took the stairs up and the elevator straight down, and now we're figuring out what to do with that. Small little gap right here. Heavy sellers coming in at the top. Pull back. Did not break the 5-minute exponential moving cloud. Converged it a little bit, but we are still struggling to figure out what we want to do here yet. So we got crude, took out yesterday's low and is now starting to ramp back up. Trying to attack at least these highs right here, 48.20, or I'm sorry, 78.24. Maybe get the yesterday's prior day high. Looks like it's trying to move on up. Yeah, we're just bouncing off of these single print zones. Interesting. I got nothing compelling here yet. Real choppy sideways action, guys. Sorry, there's not much to do here other than to just wait for this range here to break. Any markets you guys want me to cover, go ahead and throw it in the chat. I'll take a look. Got some divergence here between price and delta so far. Delta's flat, declining as price was going up. So you got a false move up here and a rotation down. Sellers coming in on top. This VWAP here, let's watch this and see if we can get a seller up at the top of this one. So right now price is just oscillating back and forth around the POC. We're building up a little triangle here as the volume grows around the POC, and we're just kind of, I think we're going to be range bound here for a little bit. So sorry guys. When the 9:30 half-hour bar closes, we'll go ahead and throw that volume profile on the opening range, and we'll see what we got. See what kind of levels we get, but it's going to be a very tight range if something doesn't break soon. So very similar to yesterday morning where we had all the signs of an inside day. Well, we got a real tight opening range here, like real tight. 49.54 to 49.45, so not even 10 points, 9 points of an opening range. Dollar continues to soar for the last 20 minutes or so. It's been on a tear to the upside. We come up on the 9:30 hour here. We're going to see how price reacts. We get any kind of reaction whatsoever. We'll get a look at the initial balance and see what that looks like. I'm going to draw on the initial balance tool. I gotta change it to Central Time. There we are. Initial balance, high, low. Right in there. That's it. We got a little wedge forming here. Testing value area high of yesterday. Broke down below my 45 level, or wicked below it. And now retracing up. Obviously some demand down here. There's a little price wall down here. Price just doesn't want to bounce through or break through. So we got two little price walls. We got one up here, price completely rejected up here, and now price is completely rejecting down here. Not once, but twice. Okay, guys, it's about 9:30. I'm gonna go ahead and call it for the morning session here. There's not much happening until we break down below this opening range low or break above this opening range high. We have rejection up here. We have rejection down here. Looks like we're kind of trending this way. You got your initial balance. You got your levels. I'm gonna go ahead and call it, and we'll be back again here perhaps later in the week, but for sure next week. Just be on the lookout for your emails, and we'll keep you posted when we go live again. Thanks for joining. Sorry there wasn't enough price action for everyone.